I'm currently in Singapore and I'm going to be spending the next 40 hours exploring this crazy city. This will be my first time mostly making a video about a city, a destination without some travel, so bear with me as I try to figure this out, but I am so excited, so let's get started. Hey everyone, I'm Jack and I've been flying standby for the past 3 years on my own and sometimes with family. I'm trying to fly 100,000 miles in 1 year before August 16, 2025, and to all 50 states before June 1st, 2026. Thanks for watching. So the first plan for today is we are going to be taking the MRT over to McRitchie Reservoir Park and doing the treetop walk up there. Also, I'm using the tourist pass to get on to the MRT and the buses. It's $29 for 3 days and it is super useful and super easy. You just tap on and tap off. And it's a set price, and so we're going to be heading there. It's going to take probably 45 minutes, and then we'll be doing their treetop walk, which is the main attraction, and hiking around there as well. So first we have to walk to the MRT station. Now first, before we get going, here's a little background on how we're getting around Singapore. Their main subway system is called the MRT, and it takes you to all the main places around the city, and if you can't get where you're going on the MRT, you can take buses everywhere else. And like I already said, we bought these $29 tourist passes and they got us on every form of public transport that we took. Now that we can get going, we walked about 5 minutes from our hotel to the nearest MRT station, which, by the way, all of them are very nice and very clean. Then we rode about 20 minutes to the Upper Thomson station. Okay, we've gotten off the MRT and now we're walking about a kilometer to the McRitchie Trailhead, where we'll spend hopefully 2 hours or so hiking around there. And I'm really excited because you see monkeys and all this wildlife, so let's go there. To be honest, I was already hot and sweating by the time we got to the trailhead, but since this was one of the top things I wanted to do in Singapore, there was no way I wasn't gonna hike this park. And I'm so glad we did because we saw so many monkeys, including some really cute babies. Finally, after about 2 miles of hiking, we reached what I had come to this park for. I made it to the treetop walk. We have just walked up a ton of stairs and now we're walking down a ton of stairs. And I don't know if I've ever had so much sweat pouring off myself. I am so hot because it's like 90 degrees out here and the humidity is 103%. So yeah, we're gonna keep walking. Our next stop was the huge Jelutong Tower, I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, which was 7 stories tall and stood above the treetops. Then we ran into a literal herd of monkeys, which was probably one of the crazier nature experiences of my life, and finally finished our hike after walking about 4 or 5 miles. We walked to another MRT station and took the train up to Woodlands North, and then after a fairly sketchy walk, we have reached Woodlands North Park, and this is one of the furthest north parts of Singapore, and it looks across the Causeway River or whatever to Malaysia, to Johor Bahru. Alright, we are now leaving Woodlands Waterfront Park and we're going to take a bus, a train, and a bus to get to the opposite side of Singapore. We're going to visit another park and walk on some marshy ground. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but our next stop, West Coast Park, has a marsh trail that we were hoping to walk on. So after a bus, a train, a long walk because we got lost, another bus, and a brief stop at McDonald's. Okay, we have made it to West Coast Park, which is on the southwest side of Singapore. So if you look at a map of where we've gone kind of gone around the entire island. And so we're gonna walk around like these marshy boardwalks here, and then head to the flower gardens, super tree gardens, whatever, in downtown Singapore. We stayed mostly out of the touristy areas today, but that is where we're gonna really get into it. I'm super excited. As we started our walk in the marsh garden, it was slightly underwhelming other than this friendly turtle. Then we saw this sign, and I got kind of nervous. Then literally 5 seconds later we saw this. I was in disbelief. But then we realized it actually wasn't a crocodile, but a Komodo dragon, so I felt much safer. But long story short, we left the marsh garden and went out to see the bay. I felt the water and it was really warm, but I actually slipped in too, which was very awkward. Then all of a sudden we had a change of plans. We can tell it's probably gonna start storming soon. So we're actually gonna go back to our room, charge up my mom's phone because it is dying, and hopefully go for a little swim. And then this evening we're gonna head out to the Super Trees, and there's like a light show that goes on at the Marina Bay Sands and everything that we'll be able to see. So yeah, we're gonna kind of go relax and cool off a little because it is still extremely hot outside. It turns out we didn't really get to do anything I had planned. As we rode the bus to our hotel, it started to rain extremely hard, and this turned into the longest and craziest thunderstorm I've ever experienced. The videos that I took do not do it justice at all. I could literally feel the thunder shaking my bones. Another change of plans, yay. The storm looks to not be ending anytime in the next 3 hours. We're headed down, and we're going to ride the MRT over to Great World. It's a big mall. We actually ate there last night. And find a Starbucks probably and plug in our devices because they're almost dead. So here we go. After we rode the MRT to the mall, we found out there really wasn't any place to charge up, so we decided to run from the mall back to our hotel. There were some covered walkways, but we still got really wet. Also, look at how huge this river is. It was so much smaller yesterday when we walked by it. Okay, that was crazy, but we finally made it back to our hotel room with minimal soakage. And now we're gonna wait out the storm, charge everything up, and then hopefully tonight we can go out to downtown for dinner, do something there, see the light show at the fountains, the Marina Bay Sands and stuff like that. But for now, we're just gonna kind of rest and relax here. Okay, we have spent some time. We both showered, got our bug spray off of us, and now we are headed out to downtown, hopefully find somewhere yummy to eat. Thankfully, it didn't take too long to get to Marina Bay from our hotel, and when we stepped out of the MRT station, I caught my first view of the famous Marina Bay Sands, and it was so cool. You can probably tell I thought that by how many videos I took, though. But we also got some really cool views of the skyline as well as we walked over to the mall. Okay, we have made it to the Marina Bay Sands Expo Center, which is across the street from the hotel. It's massive, like, holy cow, so nice. All the luxury brands are here. And then to top it all off, there's just a river flowing down the middle. This is crazy. We're gonna find somewhere to eat for hopefully not overpriced. Okay, we have made it to the food court, and it's huge, just like the rest of this mall. And we have gotten dinner, which is Shanghai noodles with peanut sauce that my mom says is not quite peanut sauce, so she has tried it. And then also dumplings, chicken dumplings. I'm not sure what they are. Yeah, it looks delicious, and we're gonna eat this food. It's gonna be so yummy because I'm starving.
I don't know if I can stay up for it.
Another change of plans. We're gonna miss the light show tonight, so we'll see it tomorrow night. And so instead we're heading back to the room, and then we'll probably relax and fall asleep, hopefully. But first, we gotta catch the MRT there from somewhere in this huge mall. Well, we found the MRT and then got back to our room. Also, I apparently stopped videoing for the night, so here's a black screen to make it seem like we're sleeping. And good morning, it's breakfast time. Good morning, it is day 2 here. And today the plan is to cross the border into Malaysia. That's kind of hard. You have to go through like 2 different customs, but we're gonna take a bus hopefully and get across just to get another country. The town is called Johor Bahru, but everybody calls it JB. And then after that, we'll head to Pinnacle at Duxton, which are these huge towers. I think there's 7 of them, or maybe 5, but there's like sky bridges, 50 stories up, that just like $6 Singapore and you can get through them, which is very cheap and definitely a good deal. So we're gonna do that because it gives you great views of the skyline. That's when we're back in Singapore, by the way. And then we're gonna walk around downtown, probably go back to that mall we ate at last night because that looked really cool and it was huge and there's a lot to explore. And also just explore the Marina Bay Sands in general and hopefully see the fountain show tonight because we missed it last night. But yes, yeah, let's get going over to Kranji where we'll pick up the bus to JB. Getting over to JB in Malaysia was much harder than I expected. Here's the route that we were going to take there. And here's how we did it. First, we rode the MRT north to Kranji and then stood in a very long line for the bus that would take us to the Woodlands checkpoint on the Singapore side. After the 15-minute bus ride, we went through customs on that side and got on an extremely busy bus to cross the river to Malaysia. Once we made it there, we realized we had to fill in an arrival card, so after a 30-minute delay, we finally went through customs on the Malaysia side and made it into JB.
I'm glad we did both modes.
Yeah, you know, alrighty, we walked around the train station a little, and it turns out there were train tickets back, which is going to be, I think, much easier because they do the customs for you. So we have train tickets on the 12:45, and we have to be back at 12:15, and it's 10:50 right now. So we have about an hour and a half until we have to go back to Singapore. So we're going to explore around here a little bit, and then we're going to, just walk around, see what's around here. We decided to walk over to the R&F Princess Mall, which was the more touristy part of JB. The mall was really nice and huge, but strangely empty. It felt like my mom and I were practically the only ones there, which was definitely weird. Also, we found a Burger King selling a Whopper Jr. meal for just over $2, which was crazy. We then walked back to the train station, went downstairs, waited in a long line again, and got on the train. Here's a quick tour. It's not that nice, but it's definitely fine for the 5-minute ride. So after a smooth ride across the causeway, we went through customs and we're back in Singapore. And 45 minutes after we left, or after we got in line to go to the train, we are here, and it was pretty much the exact same thing as the bus, but I think much less stressful, honestly. Customs was fairly easy. If you get on last on the train and get off first, it'll make your time a lot shorter. And now we're going to catch the bus that's arriving right now, and we're going to head to a little secret spot I found. It's a housing development with sky bridges 50 stories tall, and we're going to walk around there. So let's take the bus and the MRT over there. After a very long journey that took quite a few different types of transportation and a quick stop at a bakery for food, we made it to Pinnacle at Duxton. After purchasing 2 tickets for about $450 each, we took the very slow elevator to the 50th floor. Okay, we have made it up, and there is views 360, there are views 360 of the entire city of Singapore, basically, and there's 7 of these sky bridges. It's insane, and also so pretty. You can see how they've really jungle-ified the city. A big thunderstorm is moving in. You can see the rain and hear the thunder and everything. So we're gonna try to get around and see as much as fast as possible before we are struck by lightning and we die. This outdoor patio place was really nice, and the views from every building were amazing. So my final review was, hey, I would 100% recommend. And now, after finishing our tour, I was drenched in sweat. So we rode the bus to find somewhere to cool off. Alright, turns out the place to come and cool down was our hotel room, and we're gonna go up to the 11th floor, put our feet in the pool. I might get in, but it is looking very angry outside, so I don't know if I'll be able to swim. But still, we're gonna go upstairs and at least cool off, hopefully a little. Okay, we've hung out in our room for a little while and relaxed, and now it's about 5 p.m., so we're gonna head downtown, explore that mall we were in last night, and then walk around downtown itself once it stops raining, and eat somewhere. Hopefully at a Hawker Food Center, because we haven't done that. We have to eat there tonight somehow. Okay, let's leave. It turns out I had totally forgotten about the famous Gardens by the Bay today, so before we went back to the Marina Bay Sands Mall, we walked around the gardens. Also, if you can't tell, I'm sick while I'm editing this, which is why my voice sounds so weird. The one thing we paid to do here was to walk around the Cloud Forest. It has the largest indoor waterfall in the world, tons of walkways and plants from all over. I actually took so many videos that I'm going to try to build up the strength to edit a short about this forest and post it this week. Anyway, after about an hour and a half in the Cloud Forest, we headed to the super trees themselves. Personally, I think they're cool enough to look at, and the money to walk on the walkway isn't worth it. We then headed into the Marina Bay Sands Hotel itself and made it to the mall again. Since it was almost 8 o'clock, we decided to head outside and watch the light show on Marina Bay. After getting dinner at the food court in the mall, we headed back to our hotel and fell asleep. The next morning, we took our Uber to the Changi airport, and I know I'm saying that wrong, and we saw the iconic Jewel. And with having explored a little bit of Changi Airport, we finished our whirlwind tour of Singapore. There's a ton we didn't get to do, like Sentosa Island, Little India, Kampong Glam, all that stuff. And I definitely want to come back someday and do it. But if you want to like get off the beaten path and see a little less touristy side of Singapore, then I would definitely suggest being able to do this. Like all the stuff we did was so much fun, and I'm so glad we got to do this. And this is probably a really long video, so thanks for making it all the way to the end. It's going to be kind of a nightmare to edit. But I'll see you in the next one, which I start now, traveling for who knows how long, up to 40 hours to try to get home to Portland, Oregon. But that's the next video, so I'm going to end this one for now. Bye bye.